Oh yeah, it's in Mike. You want to go grab it? Okay, no problem. All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. See, nobody's complaining about the air conditioning, right? Everybody's comfortable now that it's really hot outside. It's still pointed down. I shouldn't have said anything. All right, well, it's always important to have things to work on. Okay, that's... Yes. And I would say it has been progress. It's in the right direction. So that is for sure. All right. Yes, I believe it's supposed to be 74. Yes. That's what, our experts tell us. So we'll assume that's the case. And, yeah. So
better than the 94 outside.
It is definitely better than the 94 outside. I think it felt hotter than 94 at the beach, though. I don't know. Just my sense of
I'm with you.
But we'll see. I heard that also. But it's excellent in here. The air quality is excellent in the synagogue. That could be one of our new selling points. Right? Best air quality in town. Just come hang out. You got to figure your angles wherever they may come. Alrighty. So, Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. And we're going to begin with our candle lighting, in which we're going to welcome up Janet Grossman, who's going to light and bless our Shabbat candles this evening. Shabbat Shalom. And we're on page 120. Okay. Janet, do you want me to help with the lighting part? It's a bit tricky on this end. Yeah? Okay. Well, you are a very resourceful person. So I know that you most certainly do.
Of course.
Don't worry. We're here to help if we need it. Here, I'll tell you what. Yeah, here.
There's got to be a trick to this.
There's always a trick to it. It's like those candles, right? It's trick torches.
I'm used to that kind when you have
Yeah,
to hold
exactly.
it back.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
It is not.
That's why I'm
not
used to
quite
it as
that.
well.
All right, just watch your step right behind you.
upside down.
There's a bit of a.
Yes, I will.
It's holding upside down.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kishenu b'mitzvotav b'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Okay, Janet, come over here where it is safer. Definitely want to make sure we get everyone gets back safely. I know after our boat excursion last week, we're learning you have to have stable footing everywhere. That is for sure. Okay, so we're going to turn now to page 130, as we begin Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat on page 130 and page 130.
We're going to start it off with a new melody for this. Lechu neranena, yai, new for you maybe. Ladonai, yai, naria, yai, tzurishenu, nikat mafana betoda, bizmirot narialo, lechu neranena, yai, ladonai, yai, naria, yai, tzur yishenu, yai.
I like that one. We should work that in more often. Very nice.
Yoshi Zweibeck.
Very good, Yoshi. Excellent. Page 131.
Yismechu hashamayim, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ.
We're now on page 132, or Zaru, at the very bottom of the page.
Or Zarua Latzadik U'Selev Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik U'Selev Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik U'Selev Simcha. U'Selev Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik U'Yishrei Lev Simcha, U'Yishrei Lev Simcha. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la ya la ya la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la ya la la.
We'll turn now to page 134, Zamru Ladonai.
Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor bekol zimra, bechatzotzrot bekol shofar. Hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayam u'meloo, tevel veyoshveva. Neharot imcha uchaf yachad, harim yirayenu. Lifnei Adonai kival lishmot haaretz, lishmot tevel betzedek, ve'amim b'meisharim. Yiram hayam u'meloo, tevel ve'yoshveva. Neharot imcha uchaf yachad, harim yiranenu.
We're now on page 135, Romamu, the last Hebrew paragraph, just in the middle of the page.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho.
Turn now to Lecha Dodi on page 138.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'diborecha Ishmi'anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad V'shemu l'tiferet v'litila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat Techuven elcha Ki hi mekor ha-beracha Eidadi kedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh v'machshav tchila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Mikdash melech ir melucha Kumitzeim metoch hafecha Rav lach shevet ve'emek habacha Ve'hu yachamo alayich hema Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Itnahari me'afar kumi U'yeh tiftar techami Al yad ben Yishai beit halachmi Karva el nafshi ge'ala Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yarara 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Wait for it. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri, hitoreri ki ba'orech Kumi ori, uri, uri Shir daberi kvod Adonai Alayich nigla Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lo tevoshi v'lo tikani ma tishochechi U'ma temi bach yechesu aniyei ami v'nifta'ir Atila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela V'hayu l'mshisa shosa yiferachu kol nevalayich yasis alayich Elohayich Kimsos Satan al kala Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat תעוצי ואת אדוני, תריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה
Okay, please be seated. We're going to turn now to page 140. We'll give the cantor a chance to breathe for just a moment. Your finger still attached? Yeah.
9 of them.
The blessing of calluses, right?
True.
That is for sure. Page 140.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי השר ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי השר ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור.
Now rise and body our spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמירה ויתברך וישתבח, נדבר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, וימרו. Remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. We'll turn now to page 148, and we'll read together in English towards the bottom of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
מעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
Amen. We'll turn now to page 150, and we'll read together in English in the middle of the page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please join us on page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohechem Emet. We'll read together now on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. As we turn to page 158, Michamocha at the top of the page.
מלכותך רעו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי בדד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל 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 ישראל.
Turn now to page 160, Hashkivenu at the very top of the page.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. So we turn to page 162, Vishamru, very top of the page.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת ודורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי Shabbat, Shabbat vayinafa.
Invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we begin the Amidah together on page 164. From that point on, we'll continue silently. As always, please go at your own pace. And when you're finished, if at the end you're still standing, you may be seated.
Adonai sefatai yiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Yehiu leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi. Yehiu leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi lifanecha. Yehiu leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi. Yehiu leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi lifanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri v'goali, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri v'goali. Yehiu leratzon imrei fi v'egyon libi.
So we turn now to page 371 to offer our Mishaberach, our healing prayer for this evening. I want to invite you to think of your loved ones, those whom you are praying for tonight in hopes of healing. And as I pray upon our list of those in our community who I know are in need of that healing, I want you to really picture again those loved ones and say their names inside, bring them into your heart. And as we join together with the cantor on page 371, we hope and pray for healing to come.
Of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Cantor. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
So this is a Shabbat I have been looking forward to for months now, because I get to welcome to the Bima throughout this weekend two people who I have admired since I was a child, who I have known a long time and through various ways. But they are coming tonight together as husband and wife, as co-teachers, but sharing different perspectives, different stories, but bringing so much wisdom and so much Yiddishkeit into this space. It really is a privilege and a pleasure, and I will invite our guest speaker for tonight in just a moment, but I want to introduce actually both of you together if that's possible. Husband and wife, I can't separate even in introductions. So first, and they are graciously and humbly sitting, of course, in our last couple of seats there, but Rabbi Adam Mintz and Sharon Lieberman Mintz, if you wouldn't maybe just raise a hand to everyone so they know who you are. Welcome to you. Welcome to Sag Harbor. We're so happy to have you. Rabbi Adam Mintz is the rabbi of Kehilat Reim Ahuvim, a modern Orthodox community that he founded on my shared beloved Upper West Side of Manhattan. He is the author of numerous articles and books, most recently, Building Communities, the History of the Eruv in America, which I think we'll have to bring you back for another conversation. It's fascinating. He's also the director of a wonderful resource you should all know about, 929 English, which is an internet-based, web-based project that promotes daily study of chapters of the Tanakh. It's an amazing, amazing resource. You should all take advantage. In addition, in the time, I don't know how you find time to do, Rabbi Mintz has taught as an adjunct assistant professor at City College, New York, for the past several years. Rabbi Mintz completed his rabbinical ordination at Yeshiva University and received his doctorate at New York University. He has served as a rabbi in several modern Orthodox synagogues in the New York area, including Congregation Gilat Jeshurun, KJ for those that know. We've got a few friends in the front row who for sure will know. Lincoln Square Synagogue, another place beloved to me in my childhood. And I'll mention just something that my father reminded me of. So amongst the many things that Rabbi Mintz has written about, I believe it was actually a collection of essays right for Rabbi Lickstein that was written together. So he wrote an incredibly detailed description of the tshuva that my great-grandfather wrote, authoring what I believed was the first hechsher for Coca-Cola, but now I understand the much more complex history to that. So another time we might have to bring you back for that, Rabbi Mintz, and my dad, maybe we'll get into a conversation. But really, it's a true privilege to see you both here as well. And our presenter tonight, who I'll welcome up in just a moment, Sharon Lieberman-Mintz, is the curator of Jewish art at the Library of the Jewish Theological Seminary in New York, another beloved place to me. It specializes in the fields of Hebrew illuminated manuscripts and rare printed books. Over the course of 36 years at the JTS Library, she has curated more than 45 exhibitions and co-authored 11 exhibition catalogs. Her recent publications include I Am the Scribe, Yoel Ben Shimon, and Be Fruitful, the etrog in Jewish art, culture, and history. Amazingly interesting topics. Since 1995, Sharon has also served as the senior consultant for Judaica and Hebraica at Sotheby's, cataloging and appraising books, ketubot, megillot, and decorated Hebrew manuscripts, including the incredibly rare and important Codex Sassoon, which we will learn about more tonight and Sunday morning. And as I welcome Sharon to the Bima to share some of this story, I'll also point out another connection, which it's been so long, I'm not sure even if you'll remember, but years ago, before I went to rabbinical school, I worked for a man named George Blumenthal. And George, in the early 2000s, when this was still a novel concept, got involved in digitizing, of all things, rare Jewish manuscripts and documents. And so JTS happens to have one of the great collections in the world. And so with an Israeli photographer friend of his, I don't know if you're still in touch with Ardon, this wonderful man, we will have stories to share later on, right? These wonderful, wonderful moments from my early days and seeing with my own eyes some things that I probably should never have seen. And I could still picture George talking about the signature of Maimonides that is part of that collection. And what a remarkable thing that is. But Sharon, I know tonight you're going to tell us about another incredibly important document and a little bit about your work and to give us a little bit of a taste of what's going to come on Sunday. So if you wouldn't mind joining us up on the Bima, it's my pleasure to invite you up. Let me make sure that everyone can hear you without do much of anything,
Thank you.
hopefully.
Thank you, Rabbi Geffen, Cantor Kevin. It is such a pleasure to be here tonight. I really enjoy sort of the history of earlier synagogues and looking at this synagogue, and I understand it was recently renovated, and seeing, I think, what must have been part of the original decoration.
Yes, the lintel, I believe, is probably the oldest thing in the room.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
It's wonderful. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that over the Shabbat because, we'll figure that out. That's a different thing. And it's really a wonderful pleasure to be here to talk, give you like sort of a little taste about Codex Sassoon and what I've done. And also, in fact, I sat next to George Blumenthal yesterday.
No kidding.
Yes, and spoke to Ardon earlier this week. So we talk about that another time. This spring, with my capacity as the senior consultant of Judaica at Sotheby's, I had an incredible worldwide experience, and that was I had the opportunity to engage with a book that became known as Codex Sassoon. Codex Sassoon was is the earliest, most complete Hebrew Bible extant, written around the year 900, over a millennia ago plus, either in the land of Israel or Syria. It went on a worldwide tour. It was in London and in Israel and LA and Dallas and in New York. Did anybody see it in New York? Okay, there you go. It was a lot of fun. We had crowds all over. And I'm going to give you sort of a little taste of Codex Sassoon today. And then on Sunday morning, I have a PowerPoint. We'll go into it in greater detail. Codex Sassoon, which was, as I mentioned, written over a millennia ago, had a remarkable journey and history. And that's the portion I'd like to speak about today, the journey of this manuscript and how it came to us today. So, number one, it had survived in private hands and in public hands. And people ask me, how did it manage to survive 1,100 years and where? So that's what we're going to talk about. Codex Sassoon was written and commissioned by a private patron. It came at a time when Jews were just beginning to create books in codex form, in book format. More about that on Sunday. And it was an enormously complicated and expensive endeavor to create this book. It's written on parchment. There are 800 pages, 400 folios, and that would have required over 200 sheepskin. So you need to think about who could have had the funds to even produce this kind of a book. It was written by one scribe who sat for at least a year We've done some sort of math about how long it would have taken to actually write the pages, and it was at a minimum of 200 days. So you figure a year to a year and a half if he was going at a good clip. I use the word he because we know that there were female scribes later, but in that period they were probably all male. I'm being not being gender neutral about it, but that's because for a specific reason. And this one scribe would have sat either in the land of Israel or Syria. Often early manuscripts, all early manuscripts don't come with title pages. Title pages are a function of printed books. The earliest Hebrew title page we have actually was printed in 1507. How do we know anything about Hebrew manuscripts, where and when they were made? At the end of a book, when the scribe was completely finished, the scribe would write a little paragraph known as a colophon, and he would give his name. He'd say, I, Samuel, the son of David, I'm giving an example, I'm making one up, wrote this book for Abraham, the son of David, and I wrote it in the city of Tiberias, let's say, in such and such year, and may he and his children use it for many years to come. And this is a colophon, which you would find at the very end of a book. Codex Sassoon does not have a colophon. How do we know where and when it was written and anything about the book? First thing we do is we look at the script and we look at the way the book was created, and we're able to date it and localize it based on the way the words are written and the way that the book is put together. And that's called paleography, the study of the script, and codicology, the way that the book's put together. And books of this type, we know from other dated books, were created in either Israel, Syria, Israel, and the land of Egypt. We think that Codex Sassoon was not in Egypt for a couple of internal reasons. Likely it was created either in Israel, like the Aleppo Codex, another very famous early book written around the year 930, or in the land of Syria. And we're able to tease out information about its history and its journey from the inscriptions that are found in the margins. So one of the earliest inscriptions we have is a deed of sale. A deed of sale is written smack in the middle of the book. As I mentioned, this book would have been a very expensive endeavor. You had to hire a scribe to basically sit and write for you for at least a year. You had to have enough money to buy 200 sheepskin. You had to have money for ink. It was an expensive thing. So when the book got sold, the people selling and the people buying it wanted to make sure that everybody knew who was who and who the book now belonged to. So they took the opportunity to write a deed of sale smack in the middle of the book. And in this deed of sale, we find that the owner at the time, Chalaf ben Avraham, is selling this book to Isaac, the son of Ezekiel. And by studying the script and the language, scholars surmise that this was done around the year 1000. So about 100 years after this incredible, authoritative, earliest, most complete Hebrew Bible was written, it changed hands. And it now belongs to Isaac, the son of Ezekiel. His last name was Al-Attar, which is the name used for families that dealt either in spices or perfumes. That was the name given because it means sort of perfume or spice. Means he was a wealthy merchant, and he needed to have been a wealthy merchant to buy the book. He then passes it on to his two children, but he passes it on in a very restrictive trust. He writes in no less than 4 different pages, on top, on bottom, in the end, he says, I'm giving this to my sons. One is called Ezekiel, the other one is called Maimun, and they must keep it within their family. They're never allowed to sell it. Cursed be he who sells it. Cursed be he who uses it as a pledge. They can't use it as a pledge. They can't sell it. They must keep it forever. And this is all over the manuscript. And so we figure around the middle of the 10th century, it's been given to, 10th century? No, 11th century, around like 1050. It's been given to his sons. But as things go, there are further inscriptions in this manuscript, which I'll be able to show you on Sunday in PowerPoint. And further on down the road in this manuscript, there are 2 inscriptions. And the top of the first page, or the top of the page with the first half of the inscription says, Kadosh LaHashem Elokei Yisrael, consecrated to the God of Israel. And in the same hand, about 10 pages later, it says, La Kanisa Makisin Lo Yemacher Arur. It's dedicated to a synagogue in Makisin. It should never be sold. Cursed be the person who sells it. We could sell it at Sotheby's because it's been out of Makisin for a while, but we'll get to that. So that was really an interesting clue because nobody has ever heard of a Jewish community of Makisin. There is absolutely no remnant of this community. And it took us a long time to figure out anything about it because one had to assume that any place where a book of this magnitude and massiveness, when you see the pictures, you'll see it's 400 folios. It's huge. I couldn't pick it up. It's 26 pounds. I needed help, actually. This is true. Any community that would have been that this book would have been donated to must have been a very seriously important and impressive community. You don't pick up an important manuscript and just throw it out and say, here, you take it. I mean, it's done with a lot of thought. Okay. What is this community? This community, turns out, I actually finally found it. It became known by another name, and it is on the Khyber River. It's a town on the Khyber River in northeast Syria, right next to the Iraqi border, okay? It's near Dur Europos. It's about a day's walk from Dur Europos, if any of you are familiar with this very early synagogue with beautiful paintings that was destroyed in the 3rd century of the Common Era. The interesting thing, there was a small connection because in the keynote, in the elegies that we recited on Tisha B'Av just yesterday and the night before, we talk about the Jews, the 10 tribes, who were exiled before the destruction of the temple. It's called the exile of the 10 tribes. And where are they exiled to? They're exiled to Chalach v'Chavor. Chavor is the second name. And we know of this town, Chavor, which is Khyber, from the book of Kings and also from Divrei Hayamim, the book of Chronicles. Turns out that Chavor, this town on the Khyber River, which is probably right near Makisin, was one of the earliest Jewish diasporas. So this book represents the only known element of what must have been at one point a flourishing town. What happens? On the very last page of the manuscript, we find that the town apparently has been destroyed because the community writes a note on the last page and says, this book is now given to Salama ibn Abu al-Fakhar, and he is entrusted to watch over it until such time as a synagogue will be rebuilt. And at that time, he must return it to the synagogue in the town of Makisin. He cannot sell it, etc. That's around the year 1400. And we know that Tamerlane was coming through. It's a Mongol invasion. He was going from Aleppo to Baghdad, kind of a straight line. Right in the middle is Makisin on the Khyber River. It's at that time, around the year 1400, that we lose track of this book. 500 years later, it's purchased by David Solomon Sassoon in 1929. David Solomon, the Sassoons are having a moment. I don't know how many of you have seen the exhibition at the Jewish Museum in New York. It's wonderful. It's probably closing in the next week or two. So if you haven't seen it and you are back in the city, I recommend it. There's a new book out about the Sassoons. There was a book, The Last Kings of Shanghai. So they're having quite the moment. One of the most famous, from my perspective, because I'm a scholar of Hebrew books and manuscripts, was David Solomon Sassoon, one of the world's great collectors of Hebrew books and manuscripts. He had close to 1,300 manuscripts, 1,274 manuscripts, and this was the pinnacle. It was like the crown in the jewel in his crown, I should say. And he purchased this book in 1929. He bargained on the price. He had it rebound by the Royal Bindery, and it was in his collection until 1978 when his heir sold it. David Sassoon lived from 1882 until 1942, and his heirs kept it for about 30 years, and the story of how it went down I'll finish with on Sunday, but it sort of resurfaced after 500 years, and this transmission of Jewish identity, of Jewish culture, of Jewish history, of an emblem of Jewish continuity, some of you may know the punchline already, was purchased by Alfred Moses for the Anu Museum, where it will be on permanent display in Tel Aviv. That's the new name for the old Museum of the Diaspora. They sort of rebranded and rebuilt, so it actually has gone back to Israel and will be available there. And on Sunday, I'm going to unpack what makes this text so important, a little bit about the 700 years where we have no Hebrew books or manuscripts, how biblical texts emerge, and all that. Shabbat Shalom.
That is amazing. I think I learned more in 10 minutes than I did like in all of college. That's just fantastic. So definitely, Sunday, a lot to learn. Tomorrow, Shabbat, a lot to learn, a lot of great things to come. But before we get to any of those things, we'll ask Cantor Kevin to come back to the Bima. We'll turn to page 586 at the very bottom of the page, and we will rise in body or spirit as we sing together Aleinu again, page 586 at the very bottom.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
I ask those in mourning, those observing yahrzeit, to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. I think first of those who passed in our community in recent months. Bert Bitterman, Morty Schwatzky, Beverly Deshevsky, Dr. Sam Gould, Sandy Greenwald, Dorothy Klein, Sean Leibowitz, David Lieberman, Marvin Schreier, Sandy Slip, Barbara Strasser, David Weinstein, Rita Weitzman, Yael Zerdar, and Jerry Goldsmith. We also mark the yahrzeit that occurred during the last week for Albert Bookstaver, Cecile Busbang, Rose Schwatzky, David Davis, Rose Doctorow, Louis Dornfield, Andrew Ruben Ecker, Samuel Fichtelberg, Lynn Friedman, Max Goldman, Elaine Gruenstein, Ann Giroux, Seth Kaplan, Anthony Kiprios, Lily Lenskowski, Moreno Harav, Rabbi George B. Lieberman, Honey Linden, Louis Morris, Aileen Phillips, Arlene Rosenberg, Louis Rubin, Frida Rudinsky, Phyllis Samuels, Louis Schoenbach, Howard Schreier, Ethan Schwartz, Andrew Weiner, Isidore Weiss, and Lillian Wolgemuth. In addition to the names that we've read aloud, if anyone else is saying Kaddish for anyone tonight, they'd like to share their name. I'll invite the mourners to join with me on page 598, and if it's your custom, you may rise at this time as well. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayichon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. B'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'li'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated. again, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
And as I said, we have a lot more wonderful learning to do together this Shabbat, this whole weekend, and we really welcome, again, the Mintzes to our wonderful Sag Harbor, and we hope you will make this a place where you can come back more than just this one time, because I think you have so much to teach our community, it won't fit into one Shabbat. But we are really grateful for having you here, and I, on a very personal level, just very happy to see you both. So speaking of which, tomorrow we can join together for services here at the temple beginning at 10 o'clock. And then at 12 o'clock, our Torah study will be led by Rabbi Mintz, one of the great teachers of Torah. He's going to talk about something rather important, comes up in our Parsha tomorrow, in which we are receiving the Ten Commandments in a second occasion. And there's a lot to unpack. And he asks the question, right? Had God taken us to Mount Sinai and not given us the Torah, was it really Dayenu? So you might not think Dayenu is going to appear this time of year, but it is an important question that we have to consider. And I think in every year that we come back to hearing the Ten Commandments yet again, these are the questions we really have to ask and we have to think deeply about. So, Rabbi Mintz, we're very excited to learn together with you as well. And then, as we said, on Sunday, you can join us back here at the temple for Bagels and Learning with Sharon Lieberman-Mintz, who is going to talk, as she said, in much greater depth and detail into this remarkable story, this history, and as you said, right, it is a story of an individual folio, set of folios, right, a codex, but it is so much more. It is the story of our people and a story of diaspora and a story of community. It's so many beautiful things together. So I'm looking forward to that myself, and I expect to see all of you here again on Sunday. And we'll feed you, I promise. We won't have you come early and not feed you. Looking forward to seeing all of you again. A few other things to put on your radar. Tomorrow evening, again, as the Shabbat ends, we'll gather together for a 20s and 30s Havdalah and enjoying Main Beach, hopefully a little bit cooler than it was today. So again, that is 6 o'clock tomorrow. It won't be much to be cooler than today, that is for sure. I also want to note that next Shabbat, we have a lot of great things going on. Because of the carnival, we've learned over the years, we can't compete with that for our Shabbat by the Bay. The kids just want the fried dough more than anything else. So we're going to have Shabbat off the bay, but we're going to make it very fun, and we're very excited that we're going to have an ice cream truck from Buddha Berry that's going to be here. So if you have grandkids, grandnieces, grandnephews, kids of all ages, bring them. Again, we're going to be here first with holiday starting at 4 o'clock, then Shabbat off the bay here at the temple at 5 o'clock. Mitzvah project to begin with, service at 5:30, and then of course our regular 6:30 Shabbat services as well. And a reminder that next Saturday night is our congregational beach party. Bring your own dinner and other things if you choose, and we'll beach you together. We'll provide s'mores at Main Beach in East Hampton again next Saturday at 6 o'clock. And also to remind everyone, throughout August we have a lot going on. We won't mention every one of them, but as most of you should know by now, in a couple of weeks we're going to welcome back our beloved Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Leon Morris, and his wonderful wife Dasi, and their 3 incredible children coming from the land of Israel back to Sag Harbor for the first time in years. First time they'll be seeing this place, which is really exciting. And we have really an entire weekend, Friday night, Saturday, multiple times Sunday and Monday, lots of opportunities to see them and learn with them, including Friday night we're going to do a potluck dinner, so you'll really get a chance to spend some good quality time with them. So again, that is going to be August 11th and 12th. And then towards the end of the month, we're going to welcome President Rayfeld from the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion. Some of you may remember last year he was meant to join us. Unfortunately, his wife got COVID at the last minute. And so we're very excited to actually be able to welcome him and all of our HUC friends to celebrate again. So we have a lot of great stuff coming up, but let's start with this Shabbat. And I hope to see you all again tomorrow. And of course, to welcome you as soon as we're done with services for our Oneg Shabbat just next door. So the one thing, Shelly, we just need the Kiddush one and the Motzi, if it's somewhere around there already. Cantor, you got a closing?
I do, absolutely. So seeing as Tisha B'Av was just a day or two ago, I did want to bring a song of the text from Nachamu, from the Haftarah for this week. Shabbat Nachamu, the text itself is Nachamu Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem, which literally translates, comfort my people, comfort them, God speaking to the prophets and to any of the leaders, that they should come, says your God, Yomar Elohechem, so that they should speak to the people words of hope. And so this is a setting which starts with that text, and then it gives an answer from a musician's point of view, and gives an English response to that. It's a little bright. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle with this world. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem.
We'll rise for Kiddush on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'atzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon enchilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikraei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava u'v'ratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim to all of you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Say about.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Please come next door on Shabbat. Welcome the minces to give them proper due. Interesting. How did the guitar spike so much?
What's that?
How did the guitar go to them?
No idea. Maybe I accidentally.
Oh, that's all I was going to say. I didn't think
Maybe I clicked it. I was like, "Ooh, that's really loud." Let me try back that.
It's so interesting. All right. Hey, Joe. Thank you.